Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chine. In today's video I'll be drafting a high waist palazzo trouser. If you're new here, you're welcome. Kindly subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video you'll be notified. To draft this pattern, I'll be using pattern paper, marker. I'm using two different marker, tracing wheel, scissors, pattern ruler and tape. Here are the measurements I'll be using to draft this pattern. Okay, so to start with, I'll get a margin. So from the top of my paper I'll measure 3 inches, and from the side of my paper, okay, I'll measure 3 inches. Then I'll draw a line. Now the reason for this line is because I'm drafting the front and the back at the same time. When it's time to draft the back, you understand why I made this margin. Now to get the crotch length, you need to divide your hip measurement by 4 for a low waist trouser. Now for a high waist trouser, you divide your measurement by 3. Okay, so after dividing it, I have 10.75, so I marked it on both sides. Then I got this box. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to get my waist to hip measurement. The waist to hip measurement is 7 inches, so I'll mark it, and from the top of the red line I'll measure 7 inches. Then I'll draw a straight line. Okay, now the next measurement I'm going to be getting now is the crotch extension. Okay, now the standard usually is 2 inches, but you can also divide your hip by 20. I got 2 inches, so from the crotch line I'll extend by 2 inches. Okay, then I'll use my ruler to smoothen it out. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to be doing is from the hip line I'll come out by 0.25. I'll come out by 0.25. Okay, now I'll use my curve ruler. Now you can use a French curve ruler or any curve ruler you have to do this. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to put my waist measurement. So I'll divide the waist by 4. Waist divided by 4, that's 31 divided by 4. So I'll put the measurements and I'll add 1 inch for my dart. Okay, then on the side of your trouser you have to extend upward by 0.5. Okay, you have to extend by 0.5. Then use your ruler to connect to the hip line. Now the next thing I'm going to be doing is to put my dart. I'll divide the waist by 2. I'll divide it by 2. Then for the length of the dart, you can use 4 inches or 4.5. Draw a straight line and measure ½ inch on both sides. Then connect your darts. So after getting my darts, the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to connect the ½ inch I extended upward from the side of the front trouser. I'll connect it to one side of the dart line. So this ½ inch extension, I'll also extend the back so that the length will be the same. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing is to divide my crotch line and crotch extension into 2. Okay, so I'll just get a straight line from the crotch line, okay, all the way to the ankle. So you make sure you've already gotten the length of your trouser. Okay, so after getting the length from the crotch line, you divide whatever you got by 2, then come up by 1.5. Okay, then draw a straight line. That will be the knee line. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be getting is my round knee measurement. Now remember, this is a basic trouser, so I'm going to be using the round knee measurements for both the knee and the ankle. Okay, so what I have is 20. If I divide it by 2, I'll be having 10 inches. Okay, so I'll put 5 inches on both sides. So I'll put the same measurements on my ankle as well. Okay, then I'll use a straight ruler to connect the line. So I'll start from the ankle to the knee, then from the knee to the hip. Please, I need to tell you guys something. The 20 inches I'm using for the knee and ankle, okay, the trouser will not be fitted. It's going to be loose on the knee and the ankle, more like palazzo kind of trouser. Not a very big palazzo, but just a loose fit trouser. Okay, so now from the knee I'll connect to my hip, then I'll use my ruler to connect to the crotch. Okay, just do it exactly the way you see me doing, and you have a well fitted trouser. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to be doing now, because I'm done drafting the front, the next thing I'll be doing now is to draft the back. So for the back part of my trouser, I'll be working more on the upper region. Okay, I'll be working more on the upper region. Now from the crotch line, from hip 36 downwards, you come in by 0.75. Then from hip 38 upwards, you come in by 1 inch. Okay, on that line. So on the waistline, I'll come in by 2 inches and mark. Okay, then I'll use a straight ruler to connect it. I'll use a straight ruler to connect it. Okay, so I extended my line upward. I'll tell you guys why. Okay, so I had to change my marker here so that you guys can differentiate between the front and the back. Okay, the reason why I extended the line up is so that the back trouser will be able to contain the butt. Okay, now for a client that has a big butt, you can go up by 2 inches. All right, so for this tutorial I just went up by 1.5. So the next thing I did is to extend my crotch line and my hip line. Okay, now the next thing I'll be doing is to put my waist measurement. So I had to remeasure the waist so that I'll be sure of what I'm doing. So what I did is to put the waist measurement plus my dart. Please do not forget the dart. The waist measurement plus that. Okay, so I will use my ruler to connect it. Before doing that, I will extend the waistline. Now on the front waistline, I extended the side by ½ inch. Okay, I'll have to do the same thing for the back so that the front and the back will be equal. Then I'll use my ruler to connect. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to divide my hip measurement by 4. Okay, on the crotch line, you know I came in by 1 inch. So from that 1 inch, you put your hip measurement. So for my hip measurement, I got 10.75. So I'll just put it there. Okay, so I'll do the same thing for the hip. Then I'll use my ruler to connect it. After doing that, please use the curved side of your ruler to smoothen out the hip line. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing now is to get my back crotch extension. Okay, now to get the back crotch extension, you divide your hip measurement. So if I divide my hip measurement, which is 43 divided by 10, I'll be getting 4 inches, 4.3. Okay, so from the black line, I'll just put 4.3 and I'll mark it. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is on the hip line, I'll also come in by 0.25. Okay, just the way I did on the front, I'll just use my curve ruler to also connect the back crotch. So please, you need to make sure you use exactly what you got after dividing your hip measurement by 10. So the next thing I'm going to be doing now is to put my back dart. So I'll also divide the waist measurement by 2, come down by 4.5, then draw a line. So now this time around, you draw like a slant line. Okay, you draw like a slant line, then measure ½ inch on both sides and connect. So that will be the back dart. Okay, now we're almost done with this pattern. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to get the knee and the ankle measurements, and that will be it. So on the knee line, I'll measure 0.5 on both sides. Okay, I'll do the same thing for the knee, and I'll do the same thing for the ankle. Then just the same way I did on the front, I'll use my ruler to connect to the knee first. Okay, then from the knee I'll connect to the ankle. Okay, please, you need to note that while drafting this pattern I did not put any seam allowance. Okay, so now just use your ruler to connect. Okay, so I'm done drafting the back. The red line is the front and the black line is the back. Okay, so please don't confuse the both. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to use my tracing wheel to trace out the back. Okay, so I'll just show you guys how to do that. Now to do this you need a tracing wheel. So what you need to do is to make sure you trace out all the black line. Okay, you have to trace everything out just the way you see it on the paper. So you get another pattern paper. Okay, place the one you've drafted on the other one, then use your tracing wheel to trace out. Make sure you trace out everything, so as you're tracing it is reflecting on the other paper. Okay, so I will trace out everything just the way you see me doing. You will make sure you trace out all the black line. Okay, so that you cut out the back and the remaining one that is left from the original pattern paper will be the front. Okay, please don't be confused. So after tracing out the back, just keep your pattern on one side. Once you remove it, I wish I can zoom the camera, but I can see all the lines that I traced. So the next thing I'll do is to use my marker to connect all the lines. If you use a tracing wheel, it will be very easy for you to see the lines. Okay, so I'm just connecting all my lines. So once I'm done, you will see the full back pattern. Okay, so I'll just connect everything. So once I'm done, the next thing I did is to label all the lines. Okay, now after labeling the lines, I'll just go ahead and cut out my back pattern. One thing I like about drafting a basic pant trouser is from one pattern you can get different types of trouser. You can get gathers waist trouser, you can get flare trouser, you can get pedal pushers, like you can get different types of trouser. So the best thing you would do for yourself is to draft a basic pant trouser. Okay, now keep the pattern. Okay, so that if you need to draft any other type of trouser, you can just use your pattern. Okay, now the most important part of this pattern is the back. So you will need to pay very close attention when you're watching this video. Okay, once the back is okay, your trouser will be very perfect. Okay, and this pattern works for all sizes. It works for plus size, it works for slim people, it works for all sizes, so you don't need to worry. Okay, so now after cutting my back, I had to go ahead and cut the front. So like I said, the red line is the front and the black line another is the thing back. You need to know is you have to shape the front part of your trouser. So from the center front, you come down by ½ inch. Okay, then connect to the dart line. Okay, I've already done that here, so I'm just trying to show you guys. So this is the end of this video. I hope you learned something. I'll post a different tutorial on how to sew this trouser. Okay, so if you have any question, please ask me in the comment section. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and turn on the notification bell so that anytime I upload a new video you'll be notified. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.